Bill, studying the history of it has a lot of correlation with Notre Dame, founded in 1832 and Father Soren in 1842. And some of it was a number 2 unemployment in the state. My hometown of East Liverpool, Ohio, with the steel mills, the potteries, has a lot of difficulty. So I have an awful lot of attachment to it because I can understand. Yet at the same time, where I was raised, I'm sure the same thing here, the morals, the values, the integrity, the leadership you received, I can never possibly be replaced. So it's always special for me to come to a town of maybe 10, 12,000, 47,000 community. I'm delighted to be here. Now that I've said my piece, I will be happy to answer your questions because I'm sure you're not here to listen to me talk about the history of Kendallville. So, yes,
I'm the
sir.
local affiliate here in Kendallville. You obviously had some great jobs, but people on the outside would think, before you went to Notre Dame, when you talked in Minnesota, Arkansas, and the pros. What lured you to Notre Dame?
I think growing up in a Catholic family and a Catholic school and taught by the sisters at Notre Dame, and Notre Dame never lost from 46 to 49, which was my formative years. And just Notre Dame was always special. You couldn't explain why. The nuns prayed for it. You marched out every day at noon, recess and dismissal to the Notre Dame Victory March. And being at Notre Dame was the epitome of it. Now, when I went into coaching, my goal was not to coach at Notre Dame. My goal was to coach against Notre Dame because they only hired alums. And I wasn't smart enough to go to Notre Dame. They wouldn't let me in. You know, ironic, they thought I was smart enough to coach there. I guess you have to be smarter to be a student than you do to be a coach. But once they made the hired air part season, then that was always my goal to end up there. And it was better than I ever envisioned.
And what's your thoughts on the situation at Notre Dame? Charlie Weis leaving, coming in with Brian Kelly.
I think Brian Kelly will do a super job. I believe they'll win a championship. It's strictly a question of when. Possibly could be this year. The schedule is very conducive. It depends upon Chris, the quarterback. But I think Notre Dame will be a vastly improved football team. Some people said they've underachieved. I think with Brian Kelly, they will certainly overachieve. I think if you look at the history of Notre Dame, when Notre Dame hires a successful college coach, he's been successful in another program over a period of time, not just 1 year. Notre Dame wins championships. Frank Leahy, Aaron Parsegian, Dan Devine,
Lou Holtz.
When you hire a high school coach, and there aren't 2 finer people in this world than Terry Brennan and Jerry Faust. Jerry Faust, you first meet him first 3 years, you think, hey, got to be a phony. He can't be that nice, but he is. I mean, he's one of the great people you ever met. He just didn't have the background experience. If you hire an assistant coach at Notre Dame, they aren't going to necessarily be successful. Bob Davies and Charlie Weis, etc. So I think when you look and say Brian Kelly's background, now, it might be a 3rd year before he wins it. I don't know, and I don't want to put pressure on him, but the guy just is an organizer. He's fundamental. Everything I hear up there about spring practice and playing for Notre Dame and holding them responsible, he will not win it his 2nd year. He has to play South Florida, and that's where my son coaches. So, Skip plays Florida, Miami, or Florida this year, non-conference next year. He plays Notre Dame. So, but I don't think there's any doubt that great days are ahead for Notre Dame. And when Notre Dame's on top, it's good for college football.
Coach, what about Clausen? Everybody seems to have an opinion about his chances in the NFL. Jimmy Clausen? What do you think his chances are of making it as an NFL quarterback? You know,
you can't really tell whether a guy's going to do it. I think you know, when Drew Bledsoe came out, he couldn't miss. And then Andre Ware and Klinger and all of them. There have been a lot of people that have made it. But I think Jimmy Clausen has a very strong arm. He's exceptionally accurate. I think he has excellent peripheral vision. You look at the number of touchdowns he threw compared to the number of interceptions. He also had great receivers in Tate and Floyd and the tight end, etc. But I think that the strength of his arm and the accuracy gives him a tremendous chance to be successful. I would expect him to go in the 1st round. I really would.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about the possible expansion of the Big Ten and where Notre Dame fits into that whole?
Well, I think Jack Swarbrick, the AD, is doing a tremendous job of leading Notre Dame and being a spokesman. Every decision he's made thus far has been very positive, you know, like the hiring of Brian Kelly, etc. But I don't think Notre Dame wants to go into a conference unless we're forced into a conference. So why? Because Notre Dame's a national school. I don't care where you go in this country, there are people who are Notre Dame fans. When I was coaching, you could go to California, compete with Southern Cal. You could go up to Massachusetts, compete with Boston College. You go into Pennsylvania, compete with Pennsylvania. It's a national school. And the minute you join a conference, you become a regional school. And that means that most of your games are played here. Where you look at the schools we played when I was at Notre Dame. We played, obviously, the normal people, Southern Cal, Michigan, etc. We also played Tennessee a couple of times. We played Alabama. We played Texas. You went and you played Miami of Florida, Florida State. You went and played the very best all around the country, and that's what Notre Dame is, a national school. And there aren't many people that have that appeal. As far as the Big Ten expanded, it's a question they're going to go east or west, and it's a question how many they're going to have. Are they going to go east and look at Rutgers or Pittsburgh, possibly Syracuse? Are they going to go west, look at Missouri, Nebraska, etc.? If that happens, then you're going to have other conferences have to realign. And I think we're going to see a tremendous shakeup. Why do people want to get to 12 games? Because you have to have 12 teams in your conference before you can have a conference championship. And that brings in millions of dollars for the conference. In addition to that, it extends the season longer. It keeps you in the public limelight. And one of the things that Ohio State is saying, well, we don't play very well in a bowl game because it's so long since our last game until the time we play for the national championship. So for whatever reason, I definitely believe the Big Ten's going to expand. And when they do, you're going to see a tremendous realignment all over. I think the Pac-10 is going to expand. If they go to BYU, they go to Utah, to Boise State, I don't know. But I do believe we're going to see a lot of changes in the landscape of college football in the next 2 years.
Coach, are you planning to go to the Blue Gold game?
I was planning on going to the Blue Gold game, and some of my players were planning on me being there. But at Christmas, I gave a gift to my son to go to Augusta and bring 2 friends. And with my schedule, I had neck surgery. I've been laid up for over 8 weeks. And with him being coach at USF, we have 1 day and 1 night we can do that. And that's tomorrow. That's why I'll be getting up at 3:30 in the morning to go back down there so I can accommodate my son. And there isn't anything that gives me greater joy than to spend time with my family. So that's why I will not be at the spring game, but I feel quite confident they will have affiliation. Those places were awfully good for me and it's still part of my life. But what I do try to do is be honest and expressive things, but I don't try to be overly negative on anything. But, you know, people talk about Mark May. Mark May is a wonderful individual. He's very smart, he's articulate, he's professional, he works at it hard. And we just have a difference of opinion when it comes to looking at a football. He looks at it as a player. As a player, it's always a coach's fault. It's always somebody else's fault. They're never their fault. You know, they're sort of kidding you over. I wasn't a very good player. As a coach, you're always looking for a reason why something. But I was very good friends off, Reese, Mark, and I. You know, I would expect Mark to be a pallbearer when I die. I would hope so. So my wife didn't have to hire him.
Coach, I'd like to ask you something non-sports related. You've spent a lot of time speaking motivationally. I've heard several of your speeches. What motivates you to come and speak to people and motivate others?
I'm more interested in the message, and I think that I was asked a question one time, and I may even use this tonight. If you didn't show up, who would miss you and why? If you didn't go home, would anybody miss you? Why? If your television station ceased to exist, would anybody miss you and why? If we're playing a football game and a certain player didn't show up, would we miss him? And if we did, would we miss him because of his attitude and the way he encouraged other people? So I think the whole thing about life's adding value. You're my age, as I said, that, you know, I don't want to do much more, except you have to have things that keep you going, dreams and things like that. But it's just about maybe I can say something here that's going to have an effect on people. And just by coming here, it's met an awful lot of wonderful people. Met the head of Kraft Food here and makes marshmallows, and a Notre Dame grad. Didn't understand you should take off your name tag when you take a picture, but other than that, it was very impressive.
Coach, from your speaking engagements to being with ESPN, you just seem so busy. Is there any chance that you're going to be slowing down anytime soon?
I tell you, the surgery, when they had to go through the back of my head and put in 3 artificial vertebrae and 2 rods, slowed me down. And I tell you what, I never thought I'd ever murder anybody, but had I been able to get hold of that doctor for the first 6 weeks. But no, as long as I have good health, etc., and my wife and I have been married 49 years, and she understands that I'm gone for a reason. But you know, I just we try to have quality time. Family is very, very important to us, but I just don't want to go live in a town with the average age of deceased. Now, some people need coaching to live. I think there comes a time where you step back and you let the younger people do it. But yet at the same time, when you stop having dreams and goals and having a reason to get up in the morning, then I think it really affects your health as well. As long as I stay on the go and I'm active and I'm involved, my health remains good, then I'm going to continue to try to make a difference in people's lives. And, you know, I'm not preaching or lecturing. This is just what I experienced. Every story I'm going to talk in there is absolutely true. It isn't something like, wow, I read this in a book, or this would be nice to say. You just share it with them.
Okay, we've got to wrap it up, folks.
Thank you.